Hi, it's Keir Finlow Bates here, and today I want to talk about how to run a successful collectible or art NFT project. And I'm going to do this through the use of a compare and contrast with a project that myself and Richard Piacentini have been hacking away at as a hobby for the last 3 or so weeks. And to begin with, if you're going to run an NFT project, you should have a clear goal in mind. What is it that you are going to produce? Is it an art piece? Is it going to be contemporary? Is it going to be futuristic? What's it going to be? What's the focus? What's the appeal going to be? Because you need to think in terms of what the end user is going to be thinking about. And so for the compare and contrast, Richard and I grabbed a domain name, authorverse.io. You can go and look that up on the web. And we decided that we were going to exploit a quirk in the structure of NFT contracts in order to mint an NFT into every single Ethereum address. So that's 1.5 quintillion tokens. That's 1.5 times 10 to the 48 tokens in total. So we have completely turned this, the normal approach, on its head. We've gone with, let's do something technical that has absolutely no sense or utility to it, and make that our project. So obviously authorverse.io is doomed. Then the second thing you need to do is you need to gather around you a team of diverse people with matching differing skills so that you're covering the whole space. Now, again, for the compare and contrast, I'm an aging test engineer and developer. Richard is also an aging test engineer and developer. So we've done the opposite to what an NFT project should do, and therefore authorverse.io must be doomed. Then the next thing you do is you should have a plan and a roadmap in mind. What are you going to do when? Who is going to do what? Everything should be organized in a methodical, clear manner so that you have goals and targets and you can meet them. Well, what Richard and I did is we grabbed a few spare hours here and there and a couple of days at the weekend and discussed on LinkedIn from day to day what we felt like doing, and then did it. So absolutely no method there whatsoever. So obviously authorverse.io is doomed. Then the next thing, if it's an art NFT project or if it's a collectibles NFT project, it should have striking visuals. You want to go out and hire the best graphic design artist that you can, or contemporary artist or a modern artist or something like that. What we did was, well, I drew on my knowledge of designing clunky looking sprites from hacking together Spectrum games in my teenage years, and in I think it was a fairly long Sunday, put together a bunch of sprites and images to represent each of the 1.5 times 10 to the 48 tokens. Every token is unique, so I guess in a way we're kind of a generative art project, but then again maybe not. So anyway, we've done the opposite again of what you should do for an NFT project, and therefore authorverse.io must certainly be doomed. Now the next thing you have to do is you need to sit down with business development and tokenomicists people in order to work out what your pricing strategy is, what your supply strategy is. How many tokens are you going to make? How much are you going to charge for them? Are there going to be extras that you have around the thing to attract in more money? This is very, very important. Well, obviously, for starters, we've thrown the first thing, namely scarcity, having a limited number of tokens, thereby making people compete to try and get their hands on them because scarce objects are more desirable in general. Well, we've thrown that out the window by creating as many tokens, pretty much close to as many tokens as there are atoms in the planet Earth. So that's been a bit of a disaster too, I suppose, and I guess authorverse.io must be doomed. Now, then of course, there's your pricing strategy. We did actually, partway along, as part of our chaotic plan, add a few extra features to the smart contract before we deployed it, and we've been rolling those out quietly over time. And the reason why we did that was because on the day that we wanted to launch the smart contract, Lux Rare decided to have their launch, and as a result, gas was insane. At one point, you were looking at 500 to 800 Gwei gas prices. So that's like 10 to 15 times higher than what most people consider acceptable. So we use the extra 3 or 4 days just to chuck everything in the kitchen sink into the contract that we could think of. Again, completely ignoring planning and completely ignoring having any kind of user comprehensible strategy to the NFT. It's purely technical, except for my wonderful 80s sprites. So I guess from that perspective, Authorverse.io is still doomed. Anyway, with any professional tokenomicist or business development manager looking at our pricing and our scarcity strategies and probably shaking their heads and walking off, maybe to have a cry in a corner somewhere. Obviously, the project is not going to go anywhere. Oh yes, the next thing you need to do is you need to get a Discord channel and a Telegram channel and a website, and you need to promote the hell out of your project. Well, Richard and I did set up a Discord channel, which we have posted absolutely nothing on. And we also set up a Telegram channel, which I don't think Richard's posted on it. I've answered a few technical questions, but otherwise we've been completely silent. So you could think that we are geniuses who are going for sort of anti-hype, hyping our project by anti-hyping the project, but that would imply that we had some kind of method to our madness, and I'm afraid that I have to let the cat out of the bag. This was entirely unintentional. It's just that neither me nor him want to spend our days logging onto servers and having friendly chats with people and organizing giveaways and competitions and generally trying to shill the project for all we're worth. This is what a conventional NFT project will do. You'll see that they have Discord channels with like 15 or 20 or 30 different subsections in them. And I honestly can't keep up with what goes on in these kind of things. But anyway, we haven't done that. So clearly, Authorverse.io is doomed. And what we have done is we've come up with a really good website. Richard has coded it up, taught himself Next.js in a matter of no time. We did get a friend of Richard's to give us some help with the graphic design. I think I came up with the original layout, and then Philippe actually made it look a little bit more professional. No, not a little bit more, quite a lot more. So you can find a link to him, and in the bottom of Authorverse.io, if you like his work, I'm sure he'd be happy to help out with any design needs you have for your websites. However, we didn't pay him. So again, mind you, he didn't ask to be paid. Hopefully me mentioning his name in this video will count for something. But anyway, we got a 2-page web site, so nothing fancy. Again, maybe we're not doomed on that count, but all the other things must be piling up by now. So where was I going to go to next? So the final thing then is what's your roadmap and future plans? Well, I don't really know. We have a few vague ideas in mind. One of them is we're going to try and artificially introduce scarcity. Having made the token drop the biggest on the planet, we're going to make sure that people who sign up early have some kind of extra significant token. Exactly how that's going to happen, I don't know. But then again, there are NFT projects out there that very, very slowly rolled out their utility. I'm thinking of a particular project out there involving buying lands in a place that's very sandy. But that should be enough of a clue to most of you. But anyway, again, we're just playing it by ear, flying by the seat of our pants and having fun as we're doing it. And so this is where I lead to the final thing, which is I've worked on a number of NFT projects. Some of them have been successful, some not so successful. The not so successful ones have, generally speaking, been my private projects and weren't really run to be successful in the first place. But I was reading some research by a guy called Mauro Martino, I think is his name, and he's an expert at the IBM Visual AI Labs, and he was looking at charting successful NFTs. And it turns out that less than 1% of NFTs sell for more than $1,250, I think the figure was, and 75% or more sell for $15 or less, or even absolutely nothing. So generally speaking, most NFT projects are absolute disasters. Now, I can proudly say that without any shilling, hype, any community managers, any marketing budget, any kind of sensible tokenomics, any kind of business development plan, and just making the stuff up as we go along. And no graphic designers other than for the 2 web pages. Richard and I have now on our hands an NFT project that has made over $10,000 so far. So that does actually, I guess, technically put us in that top 1%. So technically speaking, despite ignoring every single rule in the book, Richard and I have managed to launch and manage what already is a successful NFT project. Anyway, as you can tell, this is meant more for entertainment than anything else. Rich and I are going to continue working on the project, and we have a whole bunch of surprises waiting in the wings. So for those of you who've been wondering about the radio silence, well, it's just the way we do things. Keep your eyes peeled. I will make another announcement probably in the next 2 weeks or so. See, we're already moving towards the marketing approach to this thing. I guess ultimately it becomes unavoidable. But yeah, keep your eyes open, because there will be more fun things happening, and we will slowly migrate it towards something that hopefully will have more value for the people who joined up early. But I have to say, we can't make any promises. This is completely random. We are really just waking up every day and thinking to ourselves, what fun thing could we do next? And hopefully you'll enjoy coming along for the ride. And that, I guess, is the end of this video. I'll see you in the next one soon. Bye for now.